Welcome back, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today, we're going to be talking about the CFP rankings that just came out. I just kind of like listen to what everyone had to say before I wanted to make this video. But y'all, please make sure to like and subscribe once you come in. We also have a poll running, just asking, do you like this new CFP model, especially with the 12 teams? Does it make sense to you? Because it really does not make any sense to me. But the first thing that we got to do, obviously, is pull this up right here. For those of y'all that have not already seen it, okay, these are the new rankings that just dropped tonight. And Tennessee sitting at number 11. That would be good, but we're not going to be actually in the playoffs if it was today, because I don't know if it's BYU or if it's Boise State. I think it might be both of them that bump us because they're conference champions. So that kind of stuff right there does irk you. Obviously that right there does stand out to me. But also, man, the first thing that I noticed as soon as they started to drop this stuff was at number 25. Illinois. That should tell you a whole lot, right? I mean, obviously, there is a lot of Big Ten bias. I think they put them in there just so that Penn State had a ranked win, because everyone's talking about, well, Penn State doesn't have any ranked wins. Indiana doesn't either. So I don't think that Indiana played Illinois, but either way, y'all get what my point is. It's very obvious what they're doing. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about what the guy said, the chair. What he had to say about, what they're looking at and things like that. None of it makes any sense. They're just putting in whoever they want. But so Tennessee right now will be outside looking in. All right. What else do I have issues with here? I mean, there's several things. Indiana, again, we just talked about them. Their strength of schedule is like 102 or 106. That's really bad. Penn State, their strength of schedule took a little bump, I guess, now because Illinois is in at 25. I see they did also move Army up some. So that could kind of be a good thing. They're at number 19. That could be good. But also think maybe they did that just to try to set Notre Dame up for, a pretty strong win in case they do win that game, which they probably will. They definitely should. But even Notre Dame, I think being at number 6, that's a joke to me, because, I mean, they haven't beat anybody either. You know what I'm saying? Like, they lost to Northern Illinois at home. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. So if they lose one more game, then obviously they should be out. Will they actually be out? I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of leaning more towards probably not. But so we have to watch out for that. We also definitely need Ole Miss to lose this weekend to Florida. We talked about that. They had to go down to the Swamp, but they are going to be coming off of a bye. So who knows what happens with that? But if either one of those two teams lose, or if both of them lose, then we are in a really good shape coming out of this weekend. But also, Notre Dame gets to play USC at the end of the season. I think that's a game that they very well could lose. But, I mean, USC doesn't look that great either, right? I mean, I don't know where they're ranked at. Not here, because they're definitely not ranked here. But within the AP polls, they're way, way, way down on the list for sure. And let's see what else. All right, so we got some people chiming in. Let's see what people are saying. So right here, Chris Brown, what's going on, Chris? Saying BYU, seriously, yeah. So where is BYU at? BYU is at they're at number 14. So they're right behind SMU. So SMU being up there too, that's a joke. I mean, all those teams' strength of schedule, it's really bad. I see the Texas A&M is at 15. That's another thing a lot of folks have been asking about. What's going to happen if Texas beats A&M, or if A&M beats Texas? Which one's better for Tennessee? I don't know right now. I mean, I don't know. I think that they want to put Texas in. You know what I'm saying? But if Texas loses, that could be strong. But at the same time, A&M could end up jumping us. What Tennessee needs, as far as I'm concerned right now, is, like I talked about, Notre Dame and or Ole Miss need to lose. That'll help us out tremendously. But I'm going to flip this on to the next one right here. So this is how the brackets look. All right, I thought some of this was interesting. BYU versus Ohio State. That part of it right there, okay, whoever gets that side, they're going straight to the semifinals easily, right? Like there's no resistance whatsoever. So I think that things might kind of be intentionally set up this way to make sure that, hey, the Big Ten teams, we got to give them the easiest slots possible. So Ohio State, they're a shoo-in. I mean, maybe. I mean, they could stumble and lose to one of those teams. But if it was one of the teams from the SEC, we all know they're going straight to the semifinals. There's almost no point to even play those games. And then you come on down to Alabama versus Notre Dame. I would definitely expect for Alabama to just roll in that game. Then next they get Oregon. I told you I think Oregon's overrated. Alabama will take care of business there. Then you got Georgia versus Penn State. Georgia should definitely wax Penn State. And then you got Georgia versus Miami. Now, that could be pretty interesting, because Miami will throw the football down the field, and Tennessee couldn't take advantage of that. I know that, we're not really talking about that right now, but Tennessee did not do it. But teams that can do it will have success versus Georgia. And Miami has a really good offensive line. Now, their defense is kind of, it's kind of suspect, but that one could get interesting. Then you've got Ole Miss versus Indiana, and I mean, Ole Miss would absolutely destroy Indiana. That's another team that we didn't touch on as much with what they have coming up. But obviously, man, playing up against the Buckeyes this weekend, if they lose, they should be out. They would have no ranked wins, period, point blank. But will they try to throw a ranked team in there just to give them just to give them that little bit of a leg up? They probably would. But my point right there is if they lose, period, point blank, they should be out. But I think that even if they get killed, I can almost guarantee y'all that they will keep them in, okay? They want to put in 4 teams, no question, if not 5. Like, if they could find a 5th team to put in from the Big Ten, they'd do that. But they want 4 from the Big Ten for sure and 4 from the SEC. And after that game, they would get to play Texas. So that would be a pretty, that's a pretty good matchup. I think Ole Miss, if Ole Miss goes on to play Texas, that would be a pretty good game. If Indiana somehow sneaks by, which I don't think that they would, past Ole Miss, I mean, they're not going to make it to the daggum semifinals. But I think that it could work itself out where this is a all SEC national championship. I could definitely see that. Now, how many times would that happen over the course of, we'll say, like the next, 4 or 5 years that we have this 12-team deal? It's probably going to happen every single year because the football is different. I don't care. You can call it bias if you want. It just is what it is. Let me get to some more of these chats, and then I'll give y'all some more of my thoughts. So Dwayne Mitchell is saying system rewards weak conferences and penalizes strong conferences 1,000,000%. Okay, I think everyone's starting to see that, and it doesn't feel like they've changed anything. That's what I was really looking forward to tonight, was would they try to change some of that bias? If anything, they just added, they threw more on top of that. Right here from Garrett Willis. What's going on? Garrett says, what about the loser of the SEC championship? Okay, so this is one of the things that I did want to touch on because a lot of people have been asking about this. I saw what Lane Kiffin had to say that, some SEC coaches, and I think that he might have just made that up, I don't know, but he said that some SEC coaches were just kind of like crying about, well, we don't want to go to the title game because what's the point? Because if we lose, then we might not make it to the playoffs. I've always said, I've said this all season long, it's about money. Okay, it's about the people who have money that are pulling all the strings. And that's something that the chair kind of said. He was like, well, the heads of these conferences, they want things done this way. That should have told you something. They're really running this show. So if they want for the conference championship games to mean something, which they definitely do, the SEC championship game generates a ton of money. So they want for that game to mean something. So I think that both of those teams will probably make it to the college football playoffs. It's probably going to be the same thing for the Big Ten. Now, you can't say the same about the ACC or the Big 12 because those conferences pretty much suck. They only get in one team. I don't see any path that they would get in any more than that because they're absolutely horrible over there. Let's get to this next one from Randy Payne. What's up, Randy? So Randy's saying that it sucks, talking about the new model. I'm going to get to that poll in just a second. Andrew Ginhold. What's going on, Andrew? Says, go Big Orange. These rankings are absolutely whack. Dudes are going hard for the Big Ten teams. Y'all know it, man. Like, look, y'all already know. Y'all already know the vibes. Let me come on over here. All right, so we've got 85% of people that voted on this poll do not like this. Okay, there's actually 21, or now it's at 79, but now there's 21% that do like it. That's interesting. I would love to understand what there is to like about it. I think it is a sham. All right, so let's pull this up. Okay, these are all the strengths of schedules. Okay, I hope that y'all can see this. But if you go through here. Actually, what I'm going to do, so strength of resume is going to pretty much add everything up. To me, that's what they're supposed to be looking at. Something else that the chair said is that they're actually watching game film. This is my problem with that, is that not everyone understands football, okay? Like, not everyone gets it. Those people clearly don't, because if the main thing that you're doing is watching film and you're not really paying too much attention to this type of stuff, to these metrics, which he said that they look at the stats and some of that stuff, but they're really looking at how teams play, I don't know if I trust you, right? Like, I don't trust your judgment, but especially a whole bunch of Big Ten people. Not to say that, they don't play football up there, because they do, but is it a well-rounded football? Is it a modern type of football? Not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty much ground and pound. It's a whole lot of slowness up there. It's not a lot of explosive athletes. It's some on like 3 teams, but everybody else, I mean, come on, dude. Like, that's weak. If you look at the SEC, if this thing was done fairly within this model, what they would do, I mean, look, there's 5, 6, 7 teams from the SEC that should be in. If you're talking about putting in the actual best teams, the 12 best teams, you get 6 or 7 from the SEC. The Big Ten gets in 2, okay, 3, maybe 2.5, right? So Penn State, they're not that great, but okay, throw them in there too. And then, you go with, I don't know, maybe like Miami. You know, I think that they could fit in there. You know, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? You can put whoever else you want in, but those are the teams that actually have a chance. Nobody else has a chance. You know, none of those Big 12 teams, I mean, dude, they're going to get destroyed playing up against an SEC team. Absolutely destroyed. But so anyway, right now it's ranked based off of the strength of record. Tennessee is sitting at 10. So that should put it, or that would put us in there if that's what they were going by. Now let's order this by the strength of schedule. Okay. Look at all the SEC teams up here. Look at all the SEC teams, right? That should tell you a lot. The weakest SEC strength of schedule team is going to be Texas, and they're all the way down here at 38. That is the weakest strength of schedule inside of our conference. All right, so who's close to this? Well, Penn State, they're at 35. Very weak strength of schedule. Ohio State, they're at 28. You know, that's kind of like an average SEC schedule. As a matter of fact, it's probably below average. So, yeah, I think that y'all understand what I'm saying here, right? I mean, it is a joke. Like you can't sit here and tell me that you're looking at that you're looking at how these guys are playing, and that you're putting in teams based off of how strong they look when they're playing up against nobody. The teams in the top 5 have very weak schedules. I mean, how does that happen? I don't get that, but I'm gonna get to some more of these chats here real quick just to see what everyone's got to say. I'm gonna try to get to everybody's. Okay, so here's one right here from I don't even know how to pronounce that, but what's going on, buddy? Says we should get rewarded if we smack Vandy, because at that point we should have that over Bama. Then if Bama wins the SEC, that helps too. No, that's a good question. I would think that maybe it would. I'm gonna bring this right back up, okay? Because I want for y'all to, the teams, like what we need. We need Ole Miss to lose. That is a big one. Ole Miss absolutely has to lose. Notre Dame, that would be, just icing on the cake. If somehow Boise State, if they could somehow lose one more game, which I think they've got Wyoming and Oregon State coming up, if they could fall one of those games, that might help us out some. Just because at that point, I think Tennessee should get in, and then Boise State might be the last team that makes it if everything kind of stands this way. If I'm not mistaken, I might be off on that. But also, it looks like, okay, so no, I'm off on that because Big 12 has got to get somebody in. So BYU is sitting at number 14. It's going to be between them and I think Colorado. So, whoever wins out of that game would end up getting in still over Tennessee. So we need somebody that is ahead of Tennessee to end up losing, which I do. I mean, I see that happening. I definitely see that happening. Obviously, somebody's going to lose between Ohio State and Indiana. One of those teams will lose. Again, the question is going to be, if it's Indiana, will they drop them out? I don't think that they will. So Ole Miss is a team, y'all. We got to root for Ole Miss to lose. I think that's probably the clearest path for us. But I also want to talk about something else because, all right, so this right here, number one, these are the SEC rankings if y'all haven't seen this. Tennessee's currently sitting at 4th. It's interesting how this stuff plays out because A&M at this point, they're ranked higher than us in the SEC, excuse me, but they're behind us with the CFP rankings. So what that means is if both teams went out, then A&M is going to end up jumping Tennessee. I think that we all kind of understand that. So maybe it would be better for A&M to lose than it would be for Texas to lose for us, because then at that point, Tennessee continues to kind of slide up. And I think that we would stay over Alabama. Probably Ole Miss too. Ole Miss strength of schedule, it's not good either. You know what I'm saying? And actually, I could be off on that. They might have the weakest strength of schedule because I think that theirs was at 43. So I'm gonna pull this back up. we have a lot to kind of go over, so I'll be going back and forth. But let me see. I think that theirs might actually be at 43. Is that right? No. Okay, so Ole Miss. I don't even see Ole Miss on here, but I know that they are up here somewhere. I'm just overlooking it. So whole point there, I'm just trying to, okay, yeah, there's Ole Miss. So their strength of schedule is actually 29. So it's right behind Ohio State's, and that is a weaker SEC schedule. All right. So either way, let me go ahead and pull this part of it back up. All right, so we'll come on over here to this. All right, so this is my solution. This is what I want us to do, right? Just go to the NFL model. Give me a East and a West, 16 teams apiece, 32 total teams. Do the NFL model. Yeah, I might have left some teams off here, but I think I kind of feel like I got all the teams that actually matter. I was looking for the teams with the biggest fan bases. They generate the most revenue. This is what we need to do. Stop having people vote on this stuff. Just have everybody play. Like literally within that NFL model, I think you play as many teams from the West as you do from the East. And of course, it has to be kind of broken down, some smaller conferences and things like that. You're going to be playing teams twice. That's how I want to see things transpire moving forward. And just get all the other teams that don't really matter out of the way. And did I put Indiana in here? I might have put Indiana in here, but I just did that, just because it might be some Big Ten people watching. I don't care who's in there as long as Tennessee's in there, right? We know who the main teams are that have a realistic shot. It's not even 32 teams that I could find that was just like a slam dunk. There's teams on here that it's like, you could put somebody else there and it wouldn't really change much. So my point here is, even if you want to go to less than 32 teams, you could do that, but you need to keep a model that does not require voting, that doesn't require any of those, like a point system or any of that type of stuff. It needs to be based off of wins. Take everything, the human error, take all that stuff out of it. That's what I want to see. And I would love to get some people's thoughts on that. What do y'all think? So right here from Lamones Jr. says, these Big Ten pundits, only argument is we lost to Arkansas, so we don't deserve to be in. Shaking my head. But if they say that Arkansas is better than every single team that Indiana's played, so you really can't even say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point. And I understand what you're saying. That's an excellent point, but I don't think that their point is valid. Like, we can do that all day long. We can try to go, back and forth, tit for tat. At the end of the day, dude, the SEC teams that are, can still go 5-2. If you have 2 losses or less inside of this gauntlet of a conference, you deserve to go to the playoffs. Like, you don't deserve that in the Big Ten, where like 95% of their league is absolutely horrible. Like, absolutely horrible. Just think about it, right? Like, what teams? Okay, you got Oregon, you got the Buckeyes, you got Penn State. Put all the rest of the teams in the Big Ten in the SEC. What's their record look like? Are they even bowl eligible? I mean, probably not. Like, most of them won't be. Maybe one of them might be, but probably not. It's totally different, and I don't think it's fair at all. Let's pull up the next one right here from Bob Franklin. What's going on, Bob? System is all against the SEC. They, the powers that be, want 2 and should have 6 SEC teams in. I think so too, man. It'll be interesting. Would they only try to put in 3 SEC teams? I don't think that they have enough power to do that at this point, because Sankey is going to say his piece. That's the thing I feel like that's helping the SEC out. But even he knows that we deserve in more teams. I mean, a blind person could see that, right? It is so glaringly obvious that this is biased. Let's get right here from my dog. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. But if they want to keep a committee, you need more than 13 people. I think so too. Or maybe you need less, right? I mean, I don't agree with people being able to, vote on this stuff with their own personal thoughts on it. Because while I know some of these guys, or guys and gals, I'm not trying to say guys like it's just guys, but people. I think that some of these people, they've done some football stuff, right? Some of them are still actually actively involved with universities. So they understand football on some level, but that's not good enough. Like, 13 people to me shouldn't make or break. I mean, it's almost like a jury, which that's a whole different thing, but it's just not enough. There's too many moving pieces. It's too much stuff going on. I always want to take all of the human element out. Just let the teams play, right? Like, mix up all the conferences. You know what I'm saying? I split this up East and West. I tried to do it based off of where the teams are, but it doesn't matter. Like, if you want to mix it up, man. But it needs to be the programs that have the resources to build their program up, or, at least kind of, be on par with all this type of stuff. I also think that these players need to be paid. Now, it doesn't have to be like this for all the other sports, but football is different. I think that the basketball model is actually set up great. I mean, I think everyone loves how March Madness goes. Leave that how it is. But football needs to be its own deal. And we got to get rid of some of these teams. Like, I hate to single people out or teams out, but Boise State has no business. There's some, I don't know, maybe SMU, because I know that they've got a really big following. They've got a whole lot of money there. So maybe you could kind of put them in versus one of these other teams. I don't know. But to me, SMU, I look at them and it's, I don't see them competing right now. You know what I'm saying? But maybe at some point they can. So that's how I would try to do it, man. Like, find a model that takes the human element out. I don't know why we can't just do that. Let's see right here. Okay, so this this is from my dog right here, Gump, saying I'm on my other account. Okay, no, this is actually from Math Man. Okay, sorry about that. I thought you was Gumps. What's going on, Math Man? Now Lamones Jr. says, man, they really want to try to leave our balls out to hang and dry. Yeah, I think that we will be okay though. I do. Like, just us being where we're at this point, it's not as bad as it might seem, because like I said, some teams will end up losing. Some teams ahead of us are going to lose. That's going to help Tennessee out tremendously, but we will need a little bit of help. Keep on talking about Ole Miss, but that's the one that I have circled. And outside of that, I mean, maybe some other folks could fall. Who else maybe could fall? Miami, maybe they could fall, but that's not going to make a big difference because it's only one ACC team that gets in. So if it's not Miami, it'll be SMU or, whoever else. It'll be somebody else there. But maybe Georgia loses to Georgia Tech. I'm telling y'all, I can see that happening. That'd be great for me. But really, I want to see Georgia again. So I would love to have the opportunity to see them in the playoffs. That's what I want. That's what I really want to see. But I mean, man, pretty much outside of that, like it's not a whole lot of things that I'm seeing that could happen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Penn State falls. I don't know who else they have left, but it's probably not anybody. Like their strength of schedule is pretty weak. So let me get right here to my dog, Eric B. Jones. What's going on, Easy E? He's saying 11 isn't as bad as they thought they would have our Vols ranked. I figured they would rank them 13th, honestly. Yeah. So we talked about this earlier today. I thought that we would be somewhere between like 9 and 12. So we're still in the hunt. And someone did bring this up earlier that if we go out and if we dominate over these next couple of weeks, which I think that Nico, this is probably not possible, but the goal should be, hey, we need 10 passing touchdowns out of you to end this season off. Because if they really are going off of the eye test, one of the things that I can say about my own team, Tennessee, is that we don't look good throwing the football down the field. I think that we can all say that, right? Honestly speaking, we don't look that good doing it. So if we could prove that over these next couple of weeks, yeah, we're going up against UTEP, but it shouldn't matter because Indiana has played UTEP types of teams all season long. Okay. As a matter of fact, their strength of schedule really is not that far off. I think UTEP's is at like 124 and Indiana's at like 102. So that's not that far off. You know what I'm saying? That's about the same distance as almost like Tennessee versus like Penn State. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very close. So it's similar. But my point here is that, that should look good for us. But then really versus Vandy, we have to be very dominant. The defense has to show up. We got to get sacks. And we need our wide receivers. Let me bring this down because I want to look at y'all whenever I say this because I've said it before. I'm gonna keep on saying it. Our wide receivers, y'all got to step up, man. Like y'all just got to go out there and start balling. Y'all got to be dogs. Y'all are too damn good to be playing like this. Go make plays for us. Go get the football. Whenever it's up, it's yours. Go get it. Like stop worrying about anything else. It don't matter about looking cute. It don't matter about your stat line. It matters about being a dog. And every time that you get an opportunity, you go get the football and you make a play happen after the fact, right? That's what we need. I think that's who's letting us down the most on this team. I'm not going to say that Nico's been perfect because he hasn't, but he's put the ball in some spots where people could have made some plays, and they ain't doing it. So I'm going to say that. And then, too, I think that we need to kind of stick to what we do best, which is run the football. We got to find a way to run the football, and set up the play action down the field. We'll have the easy one-on-ones. Okay, it should be pretty simple. You don't have to get, super fancy with your play calling. Just go to 12 personnel and throw it up to your 6'5" guys on the outside down the field working off a play action. I mean, can we just do that? You know what I'm saying? Like that is so simple, and it will work. Nobody can stop that. Like you're not going to out jump a 6'5" wide receiver that's got like a 40-inch vert. That's not going to happen. Let's just practice. Nico, throw the ball up real high, buddy. That's all you got to do. Just throw it up for grabs. Keep it in bounds. Let him go make a play. It's either going to be PI or, either way, first down, or it's going to be maybe 6, but it's going to be an explosive play. We need a whole lot more of that. There's no need to do all this extra stuff. Yeah, you got to do some of it, some of the intermediate stuff, sure. But the bulk of our offense needs to start being a lot more. We're going to run it at you. You can't stop it. And then once you come all the way down, we're throwing it over your head. Easy. 3-step drop, boom. Drop it in the bucket. 6 large ones. That's it. I don't know why we can't just do that. So anyway, that's what we need to see a whole lot more of because this team has got to start opening things up down the field. And if we do that, if Nico can get like 10 passing touchdowns, over the course of these next couple of games, then I do feel like they will try to push us in there, man. Especially, if maybe there's some close games with some other teams that are on the bubble. Let me get to some more of these right here. So Lamont saying facts. You already know. Bob Franklin saying, yeah, Eric, 11 isn't too bad, I guess. 14. Okay, yeah. So I'm happy that y'all are happy about it. You know what I'm saying? I love that positive energy, man. We got to stay very optimistic. Eric B. Jones, I agree, Bull. They need to play that 12 personnel more often than they do, for sure. And Eric is also saying, okay, he's talking to Bob right there. All right, so that right there's pretty much it, y'all. Those are my thoughts. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. I know that we all got to get up early tomorrow. But you know, if I think of anything else, then we'll probably be bringing it up tomorrow, because I don't have too much UTEP stuff to talk about. I might put out a little bit of film on them just for everybody to take a look at. You know, maybe we'll do some more film stuff on our team. Maybe let me know down in the comment section what y'all would like a video on tomorrow. And, you know, we'll see. We can't make that happen for you. But that's it for this one. Thank y'all so much. Please make sure to like and subscribe on your way out. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks. Peace.